Jalen Carter had his entire day mapped out. It was a late Thursday morning in Smyrna, Tennessee, and the air hung thick and humid, signaling the storm that would roll in later. Jalen didn't mind. Wearing a faded gray windbreaker, black cargo pants, and his beat-up white sneakers, he stepped out of his old Corolla and tucked a blue plastic folder under his arm. Inside were 5 printouts, all used hybrids, all under $15,000, all with mileage that made sense. He wasn't there to impress anyone. He was there to begin. Jalen had just graduated from a STEM-focused magnet high school in Murfreesboro and had already been accepted to Georgia Tech's engineering program. He needed a car that would last, something dependable for those long drives on I-24. He didn't need flash. He needed function. So when he stepped in the glass doors of Ridgeview Auto Center, a small but sparkling dealership just off the highway, his energy was calm and focused. He even held the door open for a woman leaving, who offered a polite smile. The receptionist at the desk, however, barely looked up. "Can I help you?" she asked, eyes still on her screen. "Yes, ma'am. I'm here to look at a few hybrids." "I printed out the listings from your website," Jalen replied, lifting his folder slightly. "Are you here with your parents?" "No, ma'am. I'm buying it myself." Her smile was tight, distracted. "Someone will be out shortly." But no one came. Jalen waited near the doors, watching the rows of polished cars outside. One of the Civics he had his eye on was parked right in view. Same VIN as the listing. He stepped toward it just as a tall man in slacks and a red Ridgeview polo intercepted him. "You lost?" the man asked, not even glancing at Jalen's folder. His eyes traveled instead to his windbreaker, his pants, his shoes. "No, sir. I'm here to look at that Civic." "I printed the listing," Jalen said, extending the folder. The man gave a dismissive chuckle. "Well, this isn't a place to hang out if you're not serious. We've had incidents lately. People coming in, causing issues, taking photos." Jalen felt his stomach tighten. "I just want to test drive the car. I'm not taking pictures. I have financing set up. I'm paying cash. Then come back with a parent. Or someone who can talk real numbers," the man said, stepping back. "I don't need a parent. The bank account's in my name," Jalen said evenly. "Look, kid, we're busy today. Try one of the used lots down the road. Might be more in your range." There it was. Jalen didn't yell. He didn't argue. He just looked once more at the Civic, then turned and walked away. What Ridgeview Auto Center didn't know was who Jalen Carter really was. The drive home was quiet. The rain had started, soft and steady. Jalen didn't turn on music. He wasn't angry in the way people expect. No shouting, no slamming of fists. His processing was internal, quiet. He drove past the park he used to bike in with his cousin Marcus, past the library with last year's reading challenge posters still in the window. Home felt the same. He didn't. Inside, the house smelled like his mother's usual morning combo: lavender diffuser and black coffee. Dr. Brielle Carter was upstairs on a Zoom call. He could hear her voice, poised and confident. She was the kind of woman who could lead a CDC briefing and bake banana bread on the same day. When she came downstairs that evening, she found Jalen on the couch, laptop open, folder beside him. "Find anything you liked?" "Yeah. Ridgeview had some good options." "Did you test drive any?" "They told me to come back with a parent. Said I was just hanging around." Brielle paused, not visibly angry, just still. "Did they say something specific?" "Not really. Just acted like I didn't belong." Brielle put away dishes quietly, but her mind was already racing. She wasn't the kind to cause a scene. Her power was precise. By midnight, she had all the information she needed. Property consultant friends, staff structures, Ridgeview's internal management. The next morning, Jalen was still asleep when Brielle backed the Phantom out of the garage. She rarely drove it, a gift from a European pharma partner years ago. Her mother had told her to keep it. Sometimes they need to see it to believe it. At 9:27 a.m., Ridgeview's glass doors opened again. This time, the receptionist noticed. Midnight blue Rolls Royce. Georgia plates. Tailored navy suit. No jewelry, just a silver watch. "Good morning," Brielle said. "Good morning. Are you here for an appointment?" "I'd like to speak with your manager." A minute later, Dan Harmon, the general manager, appeared. Bluetooth in one ear, handshake ready. I believe you had an interaction with my son yesterday. 18. Black. Windbreaker. Printouts in hand. Dan hesitate. It's possible there was a misunderstanding. Brielle placed Jalen's folder on the counter. He came in prepared. Cash ready. He left without a test drive. If he felt disrespected, he was. This, she said, holding up a listing, was declared out of his range. That's not the issue. The issue is that even if he were just a hopeful teen, not a bank account holder, he still deserved respect. Dan looked down. Can I offer a second visit? A personal walkthrough? That won't be necessary. She pulled out a matte black business card. Dr. Brielle Carter, CEO, NovaPath Biologics. Next time a young man walks in prepared, ask for his name before you decide his worth. She turned, heels silent on tile. Oh, and the car outside? Not for sale. Just a visual aid. Inside, the silence lasted. Dan didn't move for 30 seconds. Later, he called in Chris, the salesman who'd turned Jalen away. You remember the kid? Black teenager? Civic. Yeah, he was just hanging around. No, he had listings. Financing. His mom came in. Chris scoffed. Okay, but I mean, he looked like... Dan cut him off. Like what? Ever wonder why we don't get more black customers? Maybe they walk in, see how we treat them, and walk right back out. Chris said nothing. Just looked down. Dan pointed to the window. Every week, we complain about online sales. Maybe we're the problem. At home, Jalen still didn't know what had happened. He watched videos about solar conversions, browsed more listings. Brielle didn't tell him right away. She didn't need to. She remembered when she was 25 and a lab supplier assumed she was a janitor. When she was 31 and pitched breakthrough research, only for questions to be aimed at her white co-founder. She'd lived it. Jalen had inherited some of it. She couldn't erase it, but she could disrupt it. That afternoon, Dan sent a memo to his team, a reminder of their values and a directive for upcoming bias training. No threat, no press release, just quiet change. Jalen eventually chose a Sonata from a different dealership. The rep treated him like any other customer, respectfully, factually. No assumptions. When he came home with the keys, Brielle asked, "Did you say something to them?" "Just a conversation," she said. "A serious one?" "Not angry. Just a reminder." He nodded. "Thanks. You thank me by not letting it change how you see yourself." A week later, the Sonata sat in their driveway. Jalen drove it to the grocery store, to his friend's house, to nowhere in particular. He didn't talk much about Ridgeview. It didn't need retelling. The lesson had taken root. He checked his balance before spending. He asked if he should wear a collared shirt to help his cousin shop for a truck. Not because he was ashamed, but because he'd learned to read the room without becoming the room. One night, Brielle sat at her desk reviewing grant proposals. A photo on her monitor caught her eye. Jalen at 9, holding up a science fair ribbon, too big shirt, huge smile. Behind him, their old Honda Accord. He'd always carried potential. Now he carried proof. A few days later, she received a note in the mail. No return address. We're doing better now. Because someone reminded us why we have to. Thank you. Ridgeview Auto. She slid the note into her planner. Not for the memory of the dealership, for the reminder that people can change. If they made to see what they've ignored. That evening, Jalen stood in the driveway, arms crossed, looking at his new car. Then he got in, started the engine. No music, no show, just movement. And in that moment, it was clear he hadn't just bought a car. He reclaimed his space with quiet, unwavering dignity. And that was enough.